I'm Michael Doyle with Brand Iron. I've been in the branding and marketing business for 20 years now. We help companies forge their brand and we help them drive revenue. If you're cheaper, faster, better, it doesn't count anymore. You got to figure out 3 to 6 things that really do differentiate how and why you're better than anybody else. And are you doing the same thing within your organization? Do you have a game plan that everybody within your organization can understand, put their arms around, and implement that's going to take you from here to here? Every good company that has a brand and really wants to position themselves and be different than the competition needs to have a brand champion. And your brand champion needs to be an executive. It needs to be someone high up in the company to take the reins and to lead your company in this new direction. You got to challenge your employees to ride for the brand. You got to appoint strong ranch hands that understand it, know what this experience is all about, and know how to make this experience become a reality. What I mean by a brand champion, someone that speaks and rides for the brand. Someone who represents the brand. That's a brand. That's innovation. That's realizing what your customers are and how you're going to be innovative and come up with something else, whether it be a technology or a lifestyle, a new brand, a new position, and that's what a brand is all about. Next thing I want to do is I want to talk about controlling North 40. And this is the part of the ranch that's up there, that's a little farther away, but you got to figure out what space you want to own. And you got to figure out it's not necessarily something that you've been or owned before, but you've got to go out there and you got to figure out how you're going to own that particular space. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he asked me, he goes, what's the #1 thing from a marketing or branding perspective that I can do that's going to be the most effective utilization of my money? And I said, you got to figure out what space you want to own first and how and why you're better than the competition. He goes, no. Is it email? Is it redoing my website? Is it mailers? What's the tactics that's going to be the most thing? And I go, no, let's get, the most effective thing it can be is #1, figure out why you're better than the competition. Are you? And he goes, no, not really, and I don't really care about that. I want to know what's the most effective tactic. And I think it's a combination between having a good strategy, but also figuring out good, effective utilization of the tactics necessary to reach your goals and objectives. And so what I say is, you got to own a space, you got to figure out, you got to take a look at the competition. You got to see what they're doing. You also got to identify what makes you better than the competition. Most companies, in fact, about 95% of the companies that we come in contact with, they say exactly what they do. And usually it's something like knowledge. We have great experience. What's another great one that they like to say? Customer service. We all give the best customer service, don't we? Right? What else do we all say? We have the best technology. How about our people? How many of us have lame people? And so we got to figure out what makes us better than the competition. And it's not the typical things like customer service, knowledge, or experience, or technology. All right, we got to figure out and understand what our customers, what they're looking for. We got to understand and identify not only currently what space we own, but space we want to own. And I don't care whether you're a service company or a product company, what we have to do is we have to figure out whether it be a process or a technology, a new way of packaging what we do, a new way of delivering a service. We have to figure out something that separates us and gives us a space that we can call our own. One of the big things that I want to do is we run the ranch. And what I mean by running the ranch, we hold our clients accountable. And you have to hold yourselves accountable to produce results. And during these challenging economic times, it takes hard work. You got to commit to a vision. You got to figure out what space you're going to own. You got to be the next big thing. You got to make it memorable. You got to choose a brand champion. You got to be able to integrate in today's electronic world. You got to figure out what that looks like. You got to make it happen. You got to produce results. And you got to track your success. And you got to make it happen. And you got to make sure that this culture that we're branding and the values that we're branding and the value proposition that we're branding is communicated internally. And that everybody internally understands what those values are, and everybody is aligned properly to deliver on that desired external brand. It's about value. And whether it be email, whether it be voicemail, whether it be direct mail, whether it be a blog that they want to read, you got to figure out your target market, what appeals to them, and what do they respond to. And I tell most of my clients, you've got to do it all. you've got to do multiple touches and you got to do multiple things because everybody has a different way that they respond to. Okay, and so, you know, I hear all the time, well, we use email. You know, and email used to be really effective and now it's really not effective. It can be, but you've got to integrate it with a call. You've got to integrate it with a mail. You've got to integrate it with a trade show. You've got to integrate all these different mediums and put them all together in a plan that successfully touches enough times your prospects so they'll respond and get to know who you are. It is about positioning yourself as the expert of the experience your target customers can have when they do business with you. And you can do that through networking, presenting, speaking, blogging, sharing information, social media, on your website. You position yourself as the expert of understanding what your customers are, who they are, what they want, what they need, and how and why they're going to have a better experience if they do business with you. Now that you know what your goals and objectives are, now that you take a look at the competition, now that you understand how and why you're better than the competition, now you got to forge that brand. You got to engage in some strategic conversation on what it's going to take to communicate that to your customers. You understand the vision, you understand the values, you know how to effectively communicate those values in 3, 4, 5, 6 simple steps. You know how to communicate those in quick, concise messaging points. So you got to figure out you're here and you want to get to here, and what are the tactical things necessary along the way to make it come alive. And that's why you have to track all your activities to make it come alive. So what does an effective brand allow you to do, okay? Number 1, charge a premium price for your product or service. Position yourself as a leader in the space so you don't have to do what? Compete on price. I love talking about this topic because of what makes an organization and its brands come alive. And my challenge to each and every one of you today is for you to be the brand champion of your own organization. And that's what brand champions do. They're in the game to win. They're not in the game to be just another one. I want to work with the people that are totally committed to getting their company to the next level. All right? And that's what branding is all about, is being the best you can be. You're going to own market share. You're going to be a true innovator in your space. People are going to call you up. If you have a strong brand, you have a strong position, people will call you up because they want to do business with you. And thanks for coming, okay?